So I've got Paul Sorrie and his father John Sorrie here with me today, and welcome them. I'm just going to have a brief chat with him about Paul's long running career with Shettleston. He's totally been pretty much in nearly every scoring team. John Mackay let me know that he thinks he's won 49 district and national team medals. On Power of 10, he's got over 350 results for Shettleston on Power of 10. For those who know Paul, he's the bandana wearing guy who normally leads out the races at the front, and he puts his heart and soul into running for Shettleston. And he really is pretty much always there on the track, road and cross country, and it's good to get an idea of his running. So I thought at first I'd just actually ask his dad, John, like what John's idea when Paul started running and how he introduced Paul to running, and what it was like with Paul as a youngster.
Right. Oh, well, he was always kind of athletic, but and he played football in primary school with the team there, the Christ the King Boys Club and that. But it's when he went to secondary school, he actually won the first year and second year cross-country championships. And it was at that point, I was obviously running with Shettleston. All the kids in the school bus used to wave at me as I ran into school in the morning and that. And but Paul joined Shettleston for a wee while there as a teenager, 13 or something like that. And him and David Gow were kind of prominent young boys at that time. But his boy career was short-lived, and he only stayed for a couple of years. But I ran for Shettleston for about 14 or 15 years, and he came back to it as a young man, and well, as you were saying, the rest is history, you know. So.
And what were your favourite races, do you think, when he was really young?
Oh, it's hard to say. I think they did quite a bit of relays in that, but David Gow was became a very prominent 800 metre runner. So him and Paul were fast. They were fast, and we tended to go to track meetings. I think they did a lot of track stuff then, out to Wishaw and Grangemouth and places like that, you know. So really sort of track stuff, which was alien to me because I was a road and cross country runner sort of style. But it showed real promise. He showed the promise that Bill Scally stood up at when I was treasurer. Bill was president at the time, and Bill stood up at a meeting and says, "I think we've got a real prospect here in the treasurer's son." But as we know, talent comes and talent goes quite quickly. So there we are.
Paul, what do you remember of your early runs? What were your best races? How did you enjoy it, or did you just sort of do it because your dad wanted you to do it? Or
I did enjoy it, but I liked the kind of 8 and 1500 metres. I think David Gow was at 150, you know, track runner, and I liked training with him. And I remember going for a game of golf with him as well. But I'm sure we done a Casimil fun run years ago with my dad up on the road. I remember doing that one. And there was a road race up in East Kilbride years ago that stuck to me. You know, I've always seen it have quite a good fast finish on me, which was, as you said earlier on, I like to just run off hard. I just go hard, you know. And I remember Bill Scally coaching me younger, and standing there with his stopwatch, you know, and just, he always kind of believed in it. So I suppose having that belief, you know, gives you that kind of confidence. But as my dad says, you know, I remember it becoming so painful on the track. I started, you know, enjoy it a wee bit when I was younger because I was feeling that sick. I was pushing myself so hard, you know. I remember sitting at crowd points and I wanted to keep doing this. And then I think I just went on and started, as you do, hanging out with your friends. I was playing football, lost interest, really in the early 20s. You're at nightclub and dance, you're burning off energy, but I stopped doing that. I thought I need to do something else here. And through my dad, back to Bill, contacted him in early mid-20s, back doing that's what it started, going back in the club, you know. And really the Scallies, I thought it was a pass out, I had a serious condition, but pain in my chest, I just hadn't run properly for years. So you have that base level of fitness when you're younger, but I don't think you can keep doing something. You know, it catches up with you probably in your early 20s. So, but here we go, here we are. But yeah, just enjoyed it. You know,
So John, since when Paul came back in his 20s running, you've obviously, I've seen you at most races. You've total support. Paul's got great family support. What emotions have you had over the years watching him, and what do you think's your highlight? What race or a couple of races do you pull out as the best ones that you were glad you were there, sort of thing?
I was certainly delighted when he returned to the running scene. By that time, I had dropped away. I did a bad injury myself when I was 40. I was going to do Dublin that year, and I never quite made it. So I had a lack of contact. And but when Paul came back in, it was really good, and he made an impact right away, because he obviously had that talent. We can all run, but you need a talent to be at that sharp end of the race, and he always had that, and it came back to him quickly. And our highlights, Pat and I always, even his sister Joanne came to all the running as well. Yes. And but I think when he ran the sixth stage, and I don't know if it was the same year he had the fastest time, joint time with Robert Russell, but Mark Pollard was coming out after him, and he actually took time out of Mark Pollard, and he had just been the cross-country champion, I think. So that was a real, proud to see that. And then I think when we went down to the 12 stage in Birmingham, that was a real highlight, and he ran terrifically well in the last leg, and that to produce a medal for the club, I think.
And Paul, how about you? What do you think? Do you agree with your dad?
My favourite running is the relays, and the team thing. I like having that pressure. You've got to run well on a leg. Your teammate, you're kind of letting them down. So actually, 12 stage was a fantastic time. Get down there, just the build up with the team. 12 guys, or the subs there, the team coach, John Mackay, etc. It's a different type of race waiting about, because I was in the last leg, and it's over 4 hours of race. So the preparation was slightly different, whereas I would maybe, have a run in the morning, have a bath, you go to the race, but I never standing about, talk. So it was 4 hours, but you're actually running about watching all this, getting wrapped up in it. But I would say from an individual perspective, probably back in 2013, I ran the Helensburgh 10K, and Mike Deason, American Club, and 12 in England, Eritrean. So they went out and about 10-15 seconds ahead of me at halfway. And I just kept digging in, just seeing Paul, come on, hang in there. I think it was about 2K to go, and just turned pace, and I managed to kick them for the victory. It was 31:03. Wasn't my fastest that year, but that year was certainly, look back, it was a fantastic year, because I did 4 wins that year, and I ran sub 31 3 times. That's a second to Cam Hawkins in the Paisley 10K. I ran 30:53. He's a global star, but that was a bit of I take a bit of pride in that, And back that year as well, I'd met my fiancée Mandy, so it kind of sticks with me. It's been a really good year. But that was an individual race, but yeah, I love, as you said,
the relays,
the relays, the 6 stage and stuff.
And are the relays, are they your favourite thing about running? What about running in general, and for Shettleston, what do you look back?
Yeah, I would say my favourite race is the George Cummins relay in Cobark, and it's the first relay of the winter season, so it kicked it all off. It's just a cracking wee course, good scenic route, and good atmosphere. It starts to, I like the distance, 4K. It's a good distance for me. And yeah, as you said, I've done all these great races, and there's other events, maybe bigger events. You can go to maybe like London half marathon, but there's just something of that race. It's my favourite race.
Yeah. And how about training? Like, how have you varied your training over the years, and what do you tend to do training-wise?
Well, I train to always register in twice a day, but that kind of consists of kind of running to my working back mainly. And I've moved house a few times, so at one point it was 3 miles to work and maybe a longer run at night, could be an 8 or 10 the weekend. But Bill Scally used to always say your core is to get a long run in it the weekend. And you know, the one good thing Bill would say, try and fit your running around your life, you know, so trying to do that. But your 2 runs a day, your long run, some speed work there as well. Over the years I've done some track, obviously some long runs yourself, Jethro. The cardio is good for the stamina. But I found over the years the track was actually, it was damaging me a bit. Doing that kind of speed work in my leg, I was pushing so hard, so I pulled away from the track work. It was more on the road. Probably about, could vary between 60 to 80 miles a week, is roughly, I would say, what I'm doing.
And what training do you like the most? What's your favourite type of training?
I like doing about a 10-mile run. I like that distance, you know. And sometimes I do a short, sharper run as well. So the other week I went out just really hard. And I've done about 45 minutes, like flat out, and I was just the last 15 minutes, you know, I was slower. But so the odd time that a shorter run, but I say a 10 miles, it's a nice distance that I like.
John, I've got a question for you in terms of, especially for those in the club who've got kids who are running and into running. What would be your advice about having, you know, how much support you give, how much you let them just get on with their training? Obviously, in the end, you've managed to find quite a nice balance between supporting but letting Paul get on and do his own stuff. How have you found that over the years? Have you got any advice to give people?
Well, I think you can't push them. That's the one thing. The kids have got to want to do it. I was a runner, and I knew the talent that Paul had, and but I found you couldn't. You know, you've got to let them do it, and let the coaches get on with them, and let them go down there on a Monday or a Wednesday night or whatever down at Crown Point and get on with it. And it was just good to know that they were keeping the exercise. And I ran Andrew's football team for 4 years and coached them, and Paul was part of that as well through that age group of 14 to 18 sort of styles. So we've always, and he knows his mum's been a big supporter as well, and it's just good to see them active and being involved, and we've always wanted to support them, and if parents can give that support and a bit of enthusiasm, then it's all to the good, I think, you know.
And Paul, how do you feel what's your thoughts when your family are there, and does it help you? Does it make you more nervous, or how have you found it over the years?
Certainly helps. You know, it gives you motivation to do well. My mum and dad be there, young son Brandon, my fiancée Mandy's come on, my brothers come on times as well. You know, so. But sometimes my dad does give me a hard time, you know. You know, after the race, he'll be saying, you need to be doing more miles, you need to be doing, you know, more speed work. So try to, you know, saying, if you want to get fast, you need to do this. So just give me a bit of a turn up on good spirits, you know, because you just want me to maximise, I suppose, the potential to do the best you can. But it's all good, because at times when maybe they're not there, you know, and something's missing, you know. Some people might think your folks are on, Paul getting older, and parents still come along, you know, but as if you're getting too old for that. But I'm a kind of family man, and I do like having them there. So long may continue.
Yeah. And what advice would you give junior members and youngsters in the club? You've obviously managed to win a lot of medals. You've definitely done really well in your running career. What advice would you say to people who are just starting out?
So advice, I mean, certainly I would give, first of all, give it a go, stick with it, and certainly it's improved my quality of life, you know, overall. So in terms of productive, doing things in my job, making better decisions in life, just feeling better with myself. So I think it can invigorate you, doing some exercise. So it's not just about running, but I would say that there's no pain, no gain. So you've got to work hard at it, as well. Just enjoy it, for what it is. And I think except as you get older, you can't always run at your best. But I mean, I think that Paul Sorrie, when he was younger, said to me, Paul, it's not the runs you're running slower. He said sometimes just getting the job done. Because they miles counts. You see, maybe another day you're feeling fresher. You've worked hard through that kind of trial period, but it counts later on. So it's just sticking with it, and yeah.
What do your mates think of you running?
I think a lot of them think I'm a bit mad, to be honest. So how do you do that? Because I run at some crazy times. I've been out running midnight, 2 in the morning. Whenever just to get running, so even though I'm out socialising with some friends, maybe, and say, how can you go for a run at 8 in the morning after you've had a few beers and stuff like that? So, just think about it. But another thing is it's good as well, some friends you've seen at a half marathon, I seen, I was some video footage and that on there, so I thought, there's a big man doing pretty well there, which when I didn't have the discipline, when I was kind of younger teenager at night clubbing with my friends and stuff. I didn't think of progressing, running. But yeah, I suppose happy that I'm doing it, and I'm proud of right.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Unless there's anything else, John, do you want to say anything else while we've got Paul on about?
No, I'm just very proud of what he's achieved throughout his career, and as you say, the longevity of it. He's been fortunate; he's injury free a lot, but I see a big difference in what he was and what he became after he got really involved in his running, and it's been a good for him, good mindset, and no, he's done well and achieved good things. I was a middle of the road guy in the club, but I love to run, and that's what you've got to do. He loves to run, and it keeps him fine and fit and healthy. So long may it continue.
One thing I'd like to kind of add myself, it's been hard for me the last 4 or 5 years. I have picked up quite a few injuries, but maybe not so much over the years, but I have been struggling a bit. It's a kind of lower back, but the pain I've had, and I'm just really keen to get fully rid of that. I'm still, I just feel as if it's holding me back. It's age a wee bit. I'm in my 40s now. I'm going to slow down, but really I've got some goals to try and get back into the first team in the relays. Might be running the vets and stuff like that. But that's a goal that I've got. Just keep working at it.
Yeah. And I'm sure you should achieve that. You're, as you say, you're so determined. You put your heart and soul into it. So I definitely think you can. You're sort of on the vein of that first team and getting in. So yeah, it's not getting easier, is it, with the young coming through?
Certainly not. It's another challenge, as you said. There's different stages you're running. Back to the training. Kind of varies over the years. I've trained doing the mile reps, doing the brother Scally in the group, doing the track training, different training working back, but different stages of your life. So if you're maybe moving house or you get married, different things happen. So you've got to just plan your training round about that. I'm in lockdown just now, and I've been busy reorganising my wedding. So I'm supposed to get married this year. So the multiple suppliers, but I've got the A-team van booked, but I'm panicking I wasn't going to get them for next year. So that brings me back to my kind of youth when I was watching the likes of your Winford Christie, your Tom McKean, your Sally Gunnels, all the great Scots, Liz McColgan, Steve Graham. That's when I started. I was younger, really watching the athletics. On telly.
Yeah. No, well, good luck in the future, and hope you keep your training up in lockdown. And thank you very much to John and Paul.